Hey, it's time for Island Tea, 9 minutes after 8 o'clock. And my co-host is not on deck today. Okay, she's off today. And I was not sure if Jay Black is going to show up, but welcome to Island Tea. And of course, don't forget we're also live on TVC Channel 40. So this is Jamsta. I'll be holding it unless Jay Black decides to show up. But just letting you know, Voices today. Don't forget, Voices begins at 10 o'clock now. So it's directly after Island Tea. Today's host will be Jay Black. So join us for Voices today. Jay Black will be the host today. You know, Socrates is indisposed at the moment. So today's Voices host, Jay Black. So that should be interesting. Well, first bit of news I want to break off with you guys. Well, first let me let you know, you guys, the numbers. Of course, you can call 466-0989, 662-0989, and of course we have the U.S. exchange numbers that you can also use, and those are 718-285-6984 and 305-921-4619. So first thing that piques my interest this morning on the news tip, on the St. Kitts Nevis news tip. St. Kitts and Nevis asylum applications to the UK surged in 2023. So we're going to get into why that is. So the story says the United Kingdom has seen a notable increase in the number of asylum applications from citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis over the past several years, with a significant spike in 2023. According to official data, the total number of asylum applications from St. Kitts and Nevis National between 2018 and 2024 highlights evolving migration trends from the Twin Island Federation. So the yearly breakdown of asylum applications. 2018, 8 applications. 2019, 4 applications. 2020, 5 applications. 2021, 8 applications. 2022, 9 applications. 2023, 28 applications. And 2024, 7 applications. The sharp rise in 2023, where applications jumped to 28 compared to single-digit figures in previous years, has raised questions about the socioeconomic and political factors driving this migration trend. Although the data for 2024 is incomplete, The current figure of 7 applications suggests a potential return to pre-2023 levels. Possible drivers behind the spike? Well, experts have pointed to a combination of factors that may contribute to this increase, including economic uncertainty, limited opportunities for youth, and concerns about violent crime and safety in the region. Additionally, the lingering impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic have exacerbated existing challenges, potentially influencing individuals to seek asylum in more stable regions such as the UK. And so we go on to talk about the UK's role as a destination. The UK has long been a preferred destination for Caribbean nationals seeking better opportunities or fleeing adverse conditions. St. Kitts Nevis citizens for St. Kitts Nevis, familial ties in the UK and the shared colonial history make the country a logical choice for relocation. The increase in applications underscores the importance of addressing underlying issues that drive migration. Governments in both St. Kitts Nevis and the UK may need to explore bilateral strategies to mitigate push factors and support sustainable development in the Caribbean. So that's an interesting story. I'd like to know what's behind. I'd like to know what those reasons are. 28 in 2023. That's a pretty big number. So I'm wondering what that's about. And of course, I guess you guys would have known by now, the Ministry of National Security. This is a release from the Ministry of National Security in the government of St. Kitts Nevis wishes to inform the general public that effective immediately, Commissioner of Corrections Franklin Dossett has been placed on administrative leave. I guess you guys would have heard about that, right? Okay, so, and that whole story, which I'm going to stay away from because I don't want to get in any trouble. It's not something you should get in trouble for, but anyway. So yeah, so there's that story, and let's see what's going on. Let's see what's going on over here as well. I was hoping that let me see, where is my island tea? Here it is. Okay, so some other things happening here. We got okay, let me see this story here. Oh, I found the story. So apparently let me see if I can get this to open. Let me see, but this, oh, okay, so this is a long time ago. Yesterday me and Kortensia, we were discussing, I was wondering whether, some any Guyanese were considering returning to Guyana now that the economy is on the upturn. And she sent me something here showing, showing government-sponsored returns to Guyana, but it seems as though that was some time ago, way before you could say the economic upturn. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to take a look at it later on. Okay, let's see what else is going on in the world. So, and yesterday we discussed how, we talked about that plane from Martinique that went down over Dominica, and talked about a poorly written story which said no sign of life, which doesn't tell you whether they found remains or whether or not they found remains. So my reasoning says, you say you find the wreckage, no sign of life. But saying no sign of life, does that mean that there's no sign of life because you found the remains of everyone that was on the plane? Or does it mean that You found the wreckage, and everyone got away. You know. Okay, so I'm gonna have Jermaine join me by Zoom. So let me try and get this open. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Let's take a quick break. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back, right? Set this up. We have Jermaine join me over here.
Found the sound 98.9 FM.
Get your blitz on. Get your blitz on. Get your blitz on. Cash Blitz!
Play Cash Blitz and get your blitz on. Cash Blitz is here, the newest scratch game from the Caribbean Lottery. With 4 tickets to choose from and the chance to win the big ticket top prize of $200,000. So get your blitz on today at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over.
Get your blitz on! Cash Blitz!
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, we're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
It's the sale you've been waiting for. Happening now. Discounts galore at your favorite Hosford store. Hosford's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley's Furniture Home Store, Hosford's Building and Nevis Centers, and Hosford's Auto Parts and Accessories. Get ready for discounts galore. Store discounts, big discounts, small discounts, VAT discounts, and more. We're slashing prices with at least 4% VAT off and up to 20% off store-wide on furniture, appliances, auto parts, building materials, and hardware, and so much more. Discounts galore across all Hosford stores. And that's not all. Customer discounts and even Value Club member savings mean the deals just keep getting better. Whether you're upgrading your home, tackling your next project, or fixing your ride, Hosford's has you covered. Take advantage of the discounts galore at all Hosford stores today. At Hosford's Furniture and Appliances, Ashley's Furniture Home Store, Hosford's Building and Nevis Centers, and Hosford's Auto Parts and Accessories. Hurry in! These offers won't last long. Don't miss out on the biggest savings of the year. Visit any Hosford store now and start saving with discounts galore in every store. Big deals, big savings, and more. Terms and conditions apply.
Voices has a new time. Starting Friday, January 24, tune in from 10 to 12 on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for Voices right after Island Tea on Win FM. Money Matters with Dr. Terrence Martin moves to Monday afternoons from 1 to 2 p.m. Inside the News on Saturday mornings, now 10 to 12 noon. Tune in to Win FM 98.9. Log on to winmediaskn.com and our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch pages. And let's go. Keep up with the news on our website and by following our Win Media SKN channel on WhatsApp. Message your comments or call Win FM at 466-0989, 662-0989, or call our U.S. numbers from anywhere, 718-285-6984, 305-921-4619, and call our sales office at 466-9586. Voices, now 10 to 12 a.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Money Matters, 1 to 2 p.m. Monday afternoon. And Inside the News, Saturdays, 10 to 12 noon on Win FM 98.9.
Let's get real on Win FM. Hi, this is Lavi. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM. Get ready for an hour of real talk that will keep you engaged and informed, bringing you insights, the hottest topics of the moment, and perspectives that matter from the runway to the political arena. Real talk with Lavi covers all. Let's get real Wednesday nights at 8 on Win FM.
Unlock the secrets to a healthier you. Join Dr. Natalie Osborne every Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. on WinFM 98.9 for Weekly Dose. During this 30-minute health discussion, we aim to educate and empower our listeners on the prevention of diseases, early diagnosis, and timely intervention. Don't miss out on this informative health talk where we teach you to live your best life. Weekly Dose, Tuesdays on WinFM 98.9.
And we are back. I got Jermaine joining me. Jermaine, what's up? Jermaine. Okay, so yeah, I'm Jermaine. I guess he'll join me when he's ready. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Oh, you're there. Good. Okay. Yeah, nice. Okay, good. So I was talking. There was a story I saw here. The story I started off with this morning was about the fact that there's been a spike in, what do you call it, refugee applications to the UK from St. Kitts Nevis. Interesting. Hold on there. Hold that thought. Let's take this call. Caller. Okay. Caller, what's up?
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. What's up?
Yeah, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
That issue with the asylum of all things.
Hang on one sec. German, can you hear the call?
Yes, I can.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
The asylum seekers. That's strange. That sounds like some smart person somewhere, or maybe some immigration lawyer in the UK, suddenly said, this is a way that you can get entry into the into the UK, right? And then when did you have that spike? In 2023?
Yes, 28.
Right.
You're right. You are right. You're right. It's probably, I'm thinking, likely non-Kittian division passport holders.
Could be, right.
Yes, because, I can't see any reason why anyone,
Yeah, yeah. That sounds like what it is, and word of mouth or whatever, people say, hey, a light bulb went off and that hit the spot. Because, I mean, maybe it's conceited, but I don't see people.
No, you're right. And it's funny. I didn't even think of. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that when I read it. It's when you open your mouth. I said, bing. Yes, true.
Yeah.
True.
That's probably more than things like high crime, because we've had high numbers in crime already, and that didn't happen. So why would it happen now?
All of a sudden
because of that.
Exactly.
And yes, the economy is not what it should be, but it isn't in the doldrums to the point where I would think that people start mass migration or getting desperate and moving.
Oh, okay. Caller, let's take another call. You can call back. I just want to get the call in. Caller, go right ahead. Island T.
Good morning.
Hey, what's up?
How are you guys this morning?
I'm doing good.
It's also the new, I think that new thing that went in effect if your parents were born in, I think, Anguilla. And I remember a lot of, you pay whatever money and you automatically become a citizen of the UK, or you get the UK passport. Remember a lot of people that live in St. Kitts, a lot of our parents, some of them are from Anguilla.
Yeah.
So I think that's what why it seems like a lot of Kittitians also applying for British passport, because either one or two other parents was from Anguilla.
Oh, so you're saying then also that And
Yeah, the new law
I see what
that
you're
took
saying.
effect.
Yeah.
Jamster, just to add, not to interrupt the caller, but in terms of seeking asylum, that's a very ticklish topic for a lot of people. So you can seek asylum in one of two ways. You can either, from my understanding, you can either travel to any border and immediately seek asylum. That's one. And two, and which I suspect, this is just my opinion, I suspect this is what has happened. Again, this is my opinion. A lot of people who probably went up to the UK, and assuming here, they either overstayed their time and sought or realized that they did not want to return to St. Kitts and Nevis, and they sought asylum, using, just as your previous caller alluded, crime as being one area, or it could be that, they have a particular issue that they're facing here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But generally speaking, go ahead, caller.
That is true too, because I know of someone that went to England and he applied for asylum, stating that he's afraid to return to the country. I guess because of the lifestyle and the gang style that they were living, the bad man style that they were living, and citing that he's afraid for his life and he applied for asylum.
Interesting.
So that's what they're using. That's what they're using. That the gang lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of the young, especially the young men, then that's what they're using to stay in England to get asylum.
Oh, okay. Especially if maybe they have parents, they have some kind of connection to the UK.
Well, you don't necessarily have to have a connection to the UK.
Right, because at that time...
That would be easier for you if that is the case, but yeah.
But then, I mean, wouldn't most people try for the US or maybe even Canada first before the UK? If you didn't have any, familial...
Yeah, when I went to the UK, I think it's much easier to get to the UK than get to the US.
That's interesting. Yeah, but I mean...
Jamster, you see before I hang up, you see the list? You see I think it's 68 or 67 petitions on the deportee list. You see the list that is out?
No.
Yeah, they have a list out of different, how much people from all the countries.
Wow. So,
and I think it's 60-something petition on it.
Wow, that's a lot. Talk about punching above your weight in the worst way possible. Anyway.
But you know what? When Jamster got some of them have hundreds of thousands, thousands. They have thousands on the list.
68 is still...
They have over 1,000, 3,000 something.
Yeah. Okay. Clear. I have to take another call.
Guys.
Yeah, sure. You can always call back. Caller. Let's get this caller. Okay, caller. Go right ahead.
Whatever the reason, people seeking asylum doesn't sound good for your country. And so I would hope that the authorities take note of that. But I was going to say the same thing applies when the other topic you were bringing up about Guyanese returning. They're not going to just get up and go back. They're going to need solid proof that things are really improving for the Guyanese back home, for them to just pack up the other life they've made and go back. So it's going to be very much a word of mouth rather than just the government saying, come back home, you can relocate now. And that list that you talk about, that 68 of deportees, it would be interesting to see how many of those are actually criminal elements as opposed to undocumented people. Because I suspect a lot of them are really just undocumented and didn't take the time to take advantage of amnesties and so on, and now they're in trouble. Okay? And in relation to other countries, It's relatively low because when you look at the list and you compare with the Caribbean, it's roughly about the same proportion. When you look at it, same percentage, the same proportion, and so it's not a surprising figure as such. But again, it kind of caught me off guard. I didn't expect that there would be that many, to be quite honest. Yeah, and I wonder too if it's the neighboring islands like the U.S. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico that many of them are coming from, as opposed to mainland USA.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We have to take a detour, or maybe not the detour. Maybe the call was a detour. We got Social Security monthly coming up. Remember, it's the last Wednesday of every month. So let's go take a quick break, and we come back with Camila Lawrence.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
Every day in a busy world, we have to do so much. Bank with CIBC and get that personal touch. Share your ambitions, let us help your dreams come true. At CIBC, you're at the heart of all we do. We're on your side, we're listening, we know the way you feel. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Get your blitz on. Get your blitz on. Get your blitz on.
Cash Blitz.
Play Cash Blitz and get your blitz on. Cash Blitz is here, the newest scratch game from the Caribbean Lottery. With 4 tickets to choose from and the chance to win the big ticket top prize of $200,000. So get your blitz on today at Caribbean Lottery agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over.
Get your blitz on. Cash Blitz.
Marcia, are you scrapbooking?
No, Dad. It's a vision board for my dream home.
Take a look at CIBC Caribbean's Realtors Hub. You can get pre-qualified for your mortgage, connect with the best realtors, and get up to 95% financing with up to 35 years to repay.
Really? Wow. It's perfect for a first-time home owner like me.
Honey, it's even good for old-timers like me.
Visit CIBCFCIB.com/Realtors Hub to get started today.
Getting sure to be sure of your benefits. Sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 62. When you're done work hard and retire, this is what to do. Listen, this Social Security is working for all your benefits. Funeral grant to help every one of your relatives. Come register for this Social Security. Social Security. So every time you get your pay, Social Security. Getting sure to be sure of your benefits. Sickness and maternity, I'll tell you about the rest of it. Survivors grant your spouse and kids get the best of it. Let me mention pension when you're 62. When you're done work hard and retire, this is what to do. Listen, this Social Security is working for all your benefits. Funeral grant to help every one of your relatives. Come register for this Social Security. Social Security. So every time you get your pay, Social Security.
8:36. I have the distinct pleasure of introducing Camila Lawrence from Social Security. You guys, for those of you who don't know, Social Security does an in-studio presentation once per month. It's usually on the not usually, it is the last Wednesday in every month. And this is the first for 2025. Camila, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Happy New Year to everyone.
Same to you.
Yes.
I haven't seen you in a while.
That's true. That's true. But December we take a break for the festivities and then we're back in January. But to me, this January has seemed very long.
Yes, I said it yesterday and Kortensia didn't agree with me. I said, yeah, it seemed long to me too, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're here, and of course, you deserve a future, so we're here to discuss the very important topic of Social Security. Last year, we spent a lot of time speaking about the reform agenda, the changes that are necessary to sustain our Social Security fund for another 30 years as generations grow and change and demographics change. That conversation will continue, and hopefully we'll have some reform measures to sustain the Social Security fund. This year we will continue our usual work to communicate, to educate, inform, engage, and enforce the tenets of the Social Security Act. Social Security is very important. It's fundamental to the stability of any economy, and in St. Kitts Nevis, we can attest to Social Security being able to do just that. On the weekend, on Saturday, we'll be observing our 47th anniversary of Social Security. Since 1978, Social Security has provided benefits to persons at their most vulnerable stages. The beauty about Social Security is that it's inclusive, and it is based on international standards of universality, which means that coverage is extended to all. It's based on solidarity. Together, we are pooling our resources to take care of each other, and equity. Social Security should be fair, and not because you are a teacher, your benefits in terms of percentage rate would be different to a custodian or any other profession. Social Security value the contributions of every worker. And so we are proud of what we've been able to do over the last 47 years. I dare say we have touched every single life, every household. And an old adage, Mr. Hamilton would say, from the cradle to the grave, and it is so. At birth, Social Security is present. In difficult times throughout your life cycle, Social Security is present. Maternity, invalidity, survivors, old age. I don't like to call it old anymore because I see the 62-year-olds are very much fine and looking lovely and healthy. So we say pension when you become pensionable at 62. And so we are a testament of what Social Security does. You contribute, you benefit. And I want to appeal to all of us as individual contributors to Social Security to pay attention to your Social Security record. Your contribution status is important. That is how you are eligible for benefits. So today in our conversation is just going to be a reminder of some important things that you need to pay attention of at the beginning of the year. And of course, we are open for phone calls, so you can call in and ask a question if you have a burning question that you'd like us to address. So it's the start of the year, and we all make resolutions about things that we want to change and so forth. That includes updating your Social Security information. So if you've had a change of name, if you have a change of address, a change of a telephone number, you can contact us so that we can ensure that we have your correct data on file. We've been realizing a return of many mails, meaning people move and they tell us, changing the numbers and not tell us, and so we're trying to reach out to you and unable to contact you. This may affect your eligibility for some claims. It may affect the delay period. It may tie us up in trying to resolve a matter for you. So if you've changed your number, if you've changed your address, just give us a call, or better yet, come in and we'll be happy to update your information for you. We have implemented some WhatsApp numbers and they stay very busy. I see that the public appreciates that gesture. So if you need to contact customer relations, they may be reached at 668-2545, 669-2545, 662-8479. Those numbers are also available on our social media platforms. So if you've missed it, you can go to our social media to find those numbers. You can also message there. We'd be happy to respond. So that's the update on your personal information. If you're new to Social Security, meaning you just had a job for your very first time, or you wish to replace your Social Security card because it has expired, it's time to see us, you would need to have with you your birth certificate or an ID, preferably your driver's license or your passport. That way we're able to capture the correct information. If you have had a name change, marriage certificate, divorce decree, deed poll, all those things are necessary for us to authenticate and validate your replacement or re-registration of your Social Security card. Remember to dress modestly, meaning your arms should be covered. In terms of hair dress, just raise it back a bit so we can see your eyes clearly and your ears and so forth. So we are welcoming you to come into Social Security and update your information. So that's on updating your information and registration. Life certificates at this time of the year. We know that our overseas pensioners are very anxious about their life certificate submission, and we've had some challenges, but due to the constant calls and recommendations from our overseas pensioners, we were able to put a system in place that would help regularize their payments, so many of them would not be experiencing a lull in receiving their pensions. But we have put something in place to ensure that there isn't a bottleneck in terms of receiving those life certificates. So we created a schedule, and that also is available on our website and social media platforms, which says when specifically you should submit those life certificates. So if your birthday is in January, you'd make a submission in January, and then 6 months after that in July. And so if you take a look at the submission imagery that we've created, it will help you to know when you can submit those life certificates. Of course, those life certificates should be notarized, and so we're encouraging you to do that to avoid any disruption in your receipt of those pensions that you rely so dearly upon. You've worked for it, you've contributed, and so just as easily those payments should come to you without much hassle. I'm sure you can appreciate, of course, that it is important for us to do those critical checks, that life certificate, because we are a financial institution and we have to put measures in place to ensure that things are done appropriately. And so we don't want to be depositing funds to persons' accounts and they're deceased or that account is inactive. So it gives an opportunity for you to update your information as well. So I think I've given a mouthful about some of the updates as it relates to updating your information at Social Security, their life certificates, and also the registration of persons who need to get new Social Security cards or persons who are just joining the workforce and coming in. We've been having some calls related to settling of claims. Of course, our customer service charter tells us that we should settle claims within 10 working days. Sometimes there are challenges, and those challenges could be a number of things. It could be that we're waiting on further information to process a claim from an employer. It could be that the form has some errors and will require some time for us to get those resolved. However, it is our aim to communicate with our insured populace and have them informed along the way so they're not waiting in vain. However, if you wish to contact us about a delay in your claim, you can do so by contacting the numbers I mentioned before, and I'll do so again. 668-2545, 669-2545, 662-8479. And we are open for questions as well as invitations to workplaces. Already for the year, we've done 2 sessions, one with CFBC faculty and the other with the Rotary Club and of St. Kitts. And so we are open for invitations. On Sunday, we'll be doing one with the Ebenezer Methodist Church. And we are encouraging persons, if you want to have a more in-depth conversation with us on Social Security on your time, we are happy to oblige. You can contact us at Corporate Communications via 667-2535, or you can email us at pubinfo@socialsecurity.kn.
Sounds good. It's Social Security Monthly with Camila Lawrence. I see you're joined by a colleague. Colleague. She's not.
I don't think she's here.
Oh, it's not. Oh, really? Okay. What you? Oh, it's low. What you could do is change the plug. How many? Is just two over there, or is it one? Okay. It sounds any better? No. Okay. Okay. I'll bring you up here. So go ahead, Camille.
Okay. So, in terms of updates, as I said, February will be observing our 47th anniversary. I want to point out some of the highlights over the years. One, of course, would be our scholarship. It is not the business of Social Security to we're not a scholarship fund per se, but we see the importance of education related to productivity in the workforce and how this ties back into the purpose of Social Security. So people work and contribute and they benefit. Social Security's mindset is that if we have a competent and a professional workforce, productivity will be increased and people will work and contribute to the fund. So since 1983, as a gift to the nation, an independence gift to the nation, Social Security has been providing support to a number of students who may not have realized their truest potentials without that sort of support. So it's a financial scholarship as well as a mentorship that takes them from first form to sixth form, and of course some extend to university with our Robert Manning MBE scholarship, financial assistance, and the Stanley Amory Technical Scholarship as well. So we have an alumni of over 250 students and growing. Notably, one of our very first scholars is Dr. Honorable Mac Brantley, the Premier of Nevis, who often boast of Social Security's commitment to the scholarships and how this individual support has given him the platform to do well as he's doing. Our calendar for the new year, which is very hot, let me call it hot commodity. Yes, it's a hot commodity flying off like we can't have enough of those, has featured some of our scholars. So the feature Honorable Dr. Matt Brantley, attorney Azari Leiber, Dr. Chanella Nisbet, Don Dyer, an engineer in Nevis, teacher Shavine Joseph, and a number of persons. And so we see the importance of the link between Social Security and education. Over $2 million has been invested directly into those students, our scholars, and we are proud of that level of commitment to education. Another major input of Social Security annually is our donation to health care, $100,000 annually. In the last quarter of the year, we would have commissioned the new endoscopic lab at the JNF France. We are now locally, persons can have access to colonoscopies, endoscopy, and all those other procedures right here. Before, those were privately offered services, but they're now provided by JNF. And so Social Security is proud again of our ability to be able to invest in health, which has a direct link again back to Social Security. A healthy workforce works and contribute to the fund so that we can continue to pay benefits. We also play a major role in national security as well, with some funds set aside annually to support national security. We believe if the workforce is safe and people can go to work, they will work and contribute, and we see that very important balance between crime and productivity at Social Security. That's our corporate social responsibilities, but apart from that, our major focus is pension payments. 82% of what we do in terms of payments is geared towards long-term benefits. So annually, we have not annually, about monthly, you have 60 new pensioners coming on board. But in the same vein, we don't have 60 new entrants into the workforce or 60 new births. So that is a telling statement already, so that people can appreciate where we're going as we speak about reform. This year, we'll continue our dialogue on reform. And so we are inviting the public to ask us those hard questions, keep us accountable, ask about how we foresee the sustainability of the fund, make recommendations as to how we can improve. One of the areas that we are certain that we can improve upon with the help of the public is compliance. So we are appealing to the self-employed. Take care of yourself. Be compliant with your future. We see a decrease in the number of persons accessing non-contributory pensions. We recognize that the government has increased its social safety net offerings, and so we have less persons coming in on that non-contributory fund, as well as Social Security recognizing that persons have the ability to contribute. The scrutiny of that accessibility is also heightened. So we're encouraging the self-employed to pay your contributions to ensure that you don't miss out on benefits.
Speaking of which, I guess I'll kick off the questions. Well, I did. Jermaine is actually on the line as well from the newsroom. Jermaine, are you there?
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Camila and guests.
I'll let you ask your question first. Go ahead.
Just one question from me. What was the highlight for Social Security for 2024? I know you guys have been very, very busy, very active, or you were very busy and active in terms of what education-wise and so forth that you've been doing. So what would you say 2024 was like for Social Security, and what was the highlight?
Social Security was very excited last year, in particular about our reform agenda, the communication campaign, the accessibility to the different audiences. I'll let my colleague Nadia speak about a highlight that I'm sure if I was to say it, it would be the same thing coming out from her. But the major highlight was the engagement with the public and their understanding and importance of what is necessary to be done at this point.
Yes.
So Nadia, share a highlight of the campaign.
Okay, thank you, Camila. Good morning, all. My name is Nadia Demin, Marketing Officer at Social Security. And when it comes to the topic of reform, it's just a year I have been with Social Security, but I have learned a lot with Camila as the captain of the ship for the corporate communications department. And what was a major highlight for 2024 as it relates to Social Security and reform was our ability to attract the younger generation. Something Camila likes to say is that Social Security is not a sexy topic. And most persons, when they hear of Social Security, they automatically assume we are appealing to just the pensioners. But what I like about last year, what we did, we went out on a branch, and again, kudos to Camila for accepting ideas as to how we can reach the public, not just the elders or the pensioners, but the youth. And what we did something that Social Security have never done, and we went into the feds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had to go where the youth engage and where they like to be. And so Social Security last year, we attended, what's it called? Summer Crush,
yes,
which is a well-anticipated and attended event by a lot of young people. And what we did, we strategically captured a position at the event where, you know, as the young people would come in, they would see Social Security there, and it was a drawback for them because a lot of them were like, "What Social Security doing here? What you could offer me Social Security? Man, even 62. Man, ready for a pension? I come to party." But surprisingly, it was they actually came over and they engaged. We had a survey,
Mm-hmm.
right? We had a survey asking them, you know, where they foresee Social Security and how it can help them in the future. And we know that going to a party, we don't want to think about when we're old and when we're not working, we come here to party. But surprisingly, they actually shared ideas.
Correct.
They were on top of things that relates to the knowledge of Social Security and what Social Security does and the impact of Social Security on them. And I must say it was a very, very, very good initiative. On social media, we gained over 11,000 views on a video engaging with the youth and Camilla and myself. We took surveys. They gave us ideas. We had 360 endorsing our slogans of transform, reform, and thrive, which they were very amazed about, and it was well received. And so I would say the highlight for me, I don't know if it's because I'm young, but the highlight for me last year was how well received Social Security was in an event that had a lot of young people, and they were very knowledgeable about Social Security. And so I believe we are moving in the right direction as it relates to corporate relations and how we are getting the message across about Social Security. One thing I want to highlight, I think Camilla had mentioned this as it relates to the registration or the update of your Social Security ID. A lot of persons, when they come to Social Security, they come with their card, of course, because it needs to be renewed. However, they miss certain requirements that they have to walk with. And so I think Camilla mentioned this before, but once you're coming to renew your Social Security ID, it is important that you have a valid passport. If not, you walk with your birth certificate and an ID to accommodate that. However, we are emphasizing on having a valid passport. In some cases, we see that persons who present their birth certificate with an ID, some information might be a little off, and so it backsets you as it relates to getting your Social Security ID. So for persons who are listening, if you're coming to renew your Social Security ID, please ensure that you have a valid passport with you so we can get that done speedily.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to add to that, though, we are not dismissing anyone because we know lots of persons don't have their passports, right? But bring with you your birth certificate, passport, deed poll, anything that certifies your name. That we may not have had it already, and we need to authenticate or capture that information. So a birth certificate, divorce decree, deed poll, affidavit, whatever document that supports your name should be brought with you in the original form, of course.
Okay, I have a question concerning the BBW. I know with the initial stimulus packages that the government did, I knew you guys were involved in that. I think what they had said was it would be based on people who pay Social Security. How were you guys involved how are you guys involved this time with the BBW?
Okay, we are less involved.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
We are not the administrators of this project. However, though, we are in some way involved in terms of working with the various departments, ministries, to provide whatever necessary. So we're not taking calls, we're not taking questions, because we're actually working behind the scenes. I think that the approach is a great one. It tells about where we're heading in the future, being able to make payments via your phone by just presenting your phone and so forth. So kudos to Jad and all who's working on that behind the scenes. But Social Security is less involved in this project.
And just to add to that, persons who may have questions on the BBW, they can contact Social Development at 765-5993. That's 765-5993 if you have questions or any inquiries about the Budget Boost Wallet initiative.
Okay. I have a question here from someone listening online. He says, good morning to the program host. I got on board late and missed what was said. However, I do have a question. How can I find out what is in SS for me? It may not be much, but I believe it might be enough to get a malt and a haul up. I haven't heard that in a while.
Okay, so that tells you the person's age right there. You can contact us via email at pub, as in PUB, info@socialsecurity.kn, or they may WhatsApp communications at 667-2535, and we'll advise as to the next steps.
Come say that again. I'm gonna type it in the chat.
Pub info.
Wait, let me get over here.
Our email is pubinfo, as in PUB, info at socialsecurity.kn, or they may reach us via WhatsApp at 667-2535. I think we're out of time already. The morning went by quickly. I want to again appeal to employers and employees, self-employed persons, not to take Social Security for granted. A lot of things are coming forward, as well as we're going to the BBW. Yes, we're seeing a lot of things that we need to address. So check your contribution status. Make sure that your payments are being made at Social Security. You may see a reflection on your payslip, but somehow still come and check or inquire. There are various means by which you can inquire about your Social Security status. Employers, you are mandated by law to make those contributions to Social Security. Self-employed, you have a responsibility to take care of yourself. And employees, be sure to check on your Social Security status. Until next time, everyone, be safe and have a great day.
And you guys have a great day as well.
Thank you. Thank you as well.
So that's Social Security Monthly, and of course we can look forward to seeing Camilo Lawrence and company once per month, the last Wednesday of every month, and that's our first sitting for 2025.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Need to get your goods to St. Kitts and Nevis? Look no further. TVC Shipping has you covered with reliable cargo solutions by land, air, and sea. Whether it's a package from across the world or a large shipment of goods, TVC Shipping makes it easy, affordable, and stress-free. And with our Airbox service, ordering from your favorite online stores just got even easier. Ship straight to your mailbox and let TDC Shipping handle the rest. Fast, secure, and even to your door. Visit us today at the C.A. Paul Southwell Industrial Park or Penny's Industrial Site, or call 465-2511 in St. Kitts or 469-5430 in Nevis. TDC Shipping, where reliable service meets unbeatable convenience. TDC, together we succeed.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib. It's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
And we are back. It's 9:06. So let's see. I was so pubinfo at socialsecurity.kn. Glenn, in case hope you saw that. I put it in the chat, so all those people overseas wondering about how they can access this Social Security info and Social Security services. Pubinfo at socialsecurity.kn. All right. So German, you're there. Seems like German has abandoned me. Let me see. Okay, so yeah, good to know that we have people like Camilo Lawrence on the job. and making sure that people, do what they got to do. Okay. Okay, so one of the things we were talking about earlier, let me check out I'm just checking out the news here. Let me see what's going on. So German, you there? You finally decided to join me again. How come I'm not hearing you? What's going on? I think you're on mute. I think you got yourself on mute, German. Okay, I'm pretty sure. German, you there? Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering what was going on. So
you know how technology goes.
Yeah.
It selectively fails us.
Okay. I'm seeing two windows here though. How come?
Technology Jamsta. Technology.
Okay. So yeah, I'm noticing. This is crazy. I'm noticing Trump is offering buyouts to all federal workers. What does that mean? I mean, so he wants to fire everyone.
Let's go back to the top of the program, Jamsta, where you started with the plane crash in Martinique. It was, or just off the coast of Dominica.
Dominica, yeah, but it was a Martinican plane.
Yeah. So you were asking, and the discussion came up yesterday about basically they were saying that there was no signs of life.
Yes.
Or something like that. So in reported terms, it just means that there was no indication. Maybe a shoe was found or something to indicate that the person may have moved from the actual crash zone to another location. So you could say, okay, there were signs of life that you've seen somebody or seen indications that a person may have moved or so forth. So that is what they meant by signs of life. And there's no signs of life.
So it means that there's
no indication. There's no clear indication that the person or persons on board may be alive. So it could be that they drowned, but their body is not found anywhere, or there's any clear indication that
but wasn't it
or so forth.
But wasn't the plane found on land?
I was not following that particular. So I saw the headlines, but I was not following it. But just to that's for context, so people can understand what it means. Right?
Okay. Because it just seemed very sloppily written to me.
I wouldn't say sloppily written.
The impression I got.
There's some terms and jargons that we use in journalism that's not necessarily clear. Sharon and those upstairs in the newsroom always laugh at a particular term that I use when I'm discussing a particular subject. I wouldn't say it on air, but when I use that, they kind of laugh and chuckle to say that it may come over wrong in the sense of people reading it. So it's those type of itty-bitty bits of jargons and so forth that we use in journalism that may not necessarily come over clear to the public. But in terms of the question that you asked, in terms of Trump's buyout, what they're seeing it as a way to slim down, quote unquote, an oversized U.S. government that they believe, or I should say that they believe that the U.S. government, as it is oversized. Just over 2 million people employed, or the numbers there about right across the United States. So in order for them to cut the numbers, they're offering an 8-month buyout of the contracts for all government employees in the United States, with the view of saving about $10 billion in the long run.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I just opened the story and I'm seeing that now. Yeah, well, I haven't saw the headline. I just opened the story. It's from AP, I think. Yeah, AP.
Yes, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a broader problem that can develop and manifest itself in the long run, because you see 2 million people employed means that 1 million of those are actually people who don't have anything to do, or 500,000 of them who may be working remotely or telework means that they're not necessarily doing anything. Because one report made a statement where they quoted one of the union presidents that indicate what the COVID pandemic has taught the world is you have to have contingencies in place just in case if another pandemic breaks out. Then what contingency do you have that your government will continue to operate, not necessarily in person but remotely? And this is what this telework and work from home has underscored over the last 4 or 5 years since the pandemic.
Okay, I'm trying to get the clip. I wanted to talk some more about the story that you guys did earlier in the week concerning things getting more expensive for us, possibly. So I'm trying to source
the one
with CJ
about
Moore.
the tariffs.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get the clip. I just spoke to Sharon, so hopefully. But let's talk about that a little bit, because I still feel like our listeners and a lot of citizens don't pay enough attention to how we interlink with the rest of the world, and they see, they probably watch TV and think, oh, that's there and that doesn't affect us. And at the same time, they may complain about the prices they see in the supermarket without realizing what
you're making a valid point.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell the public this, especially when I'm on Saturday mornings on Inside the News, that St. Kitts and Nevis does not live in a vacuum, right? And that phrase is becoming cliched, right? A lot of people hear, and it's a standard practice in St. Kitts and Nevis, about most news agencies put international news in their newscasts, right? And people wonder why it is that, you play something from Al Jazeera that comes all the way from China or Bhutan or Africa or some country that people never heard of, Azerbaijan or so forth. People wonder why we do this. It's not necessarily because we don't have content, but you have to keep abreast with what is happening globally. St. Kitts and Nevis is a small island state within the larger picture. We do not have military might. We do not have clout in terms of exportation, right? So we are dependent on a lot of what is happening in terms of the geopolitics. For example, right now, we cannot tell the UK that, this £2 that you add on to your ETA is impacting us. They will say, who you guys, right? We're probably 2%, 3% of the world's population, right? So we cannot tell Trump not to input tariffs. So in the broader picture, we have to keep abreast with what is happening across the globe. What makes it even more important for us is the fact that St. Kitts and Nevis has been importing more food than it produced. I think the data for up to 2023, at the end of 2023, St. Kitts and Nevis imported just about $200 million worth of food. In the broader Caribbean context, the food import bill has been pegged at somewhere at US $5 billion. Right. So that means that we imported more than what we produce. And that is why CARICOM government and St. Kitts and Nevis, the government in St. Kitts and Nevis, decided to bring in or institute the initiative called it CARICOM 25 by 25, right? Which basically is looking to bring food imports down by 25%. So you understand that that $200 million, they want to bring that down at least by 25%. Now, with that being said, we have to consider the implications of tariffs for that Donald Trump is considering putting in place starting on the 1st of February against Mexico, Canada, and China, which a lot of what is produced and shipped to the Caribbean, some of the raw materials come from those countries. So because of that, it simply means that the prices will be driven up. Additionally, now that the mass deportation has started and a lot of what is going to be produced in the fields and shipped and imported to St. Kitts and Nevis will be driven up because one report last evening indicated that the farmers are complaining because a lot of the farm workers are not turning up to work because ICE raided one of one of the farms in one particular state. So that then means that a lot of what we see on the shelves are going to be increasing, and we import a lot of stuff from the United States. So if that means it's going to be driven up because of what we see happening in terms of tariffs. But Mr. Warner, over the weekend, Mr. Scheidman Warner, he explained that very well during the discussions that we had on Inside the News regarding Trump's inauguration. What does that mean for the Caribbean? What does that mean for the rest of the world? And including some of his executive orders some of the executive orders that he signed. Yes, it was. It's going to be a very interesting time. It will be interesting times for us going forward as we seek to unpack the full implications of everything, all the decisions that the administration is making, and how that's going to impact our bottom line in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes, yesterday afternoon, I went up to Rams, right? And, there's always a day, it's usually like Tuesday, Wednesday, when you go to the supermarket and you go to the produce section and it's next to empty, right? And that stuff crossed my mind. I was like, I went to, what did I go to get? I forgot what. I went to get tomatoes. And I was looking around and I was thinking, boy, this needs to stop. We need to find a way to address this. This should not be happening. There should not be a predictable day when we go to the supermarket and just know that the shelves and the display trays are going to be bare because the container isn't here yet. And
but you see, you're making a valid point there, right, Jamsa? But we also have to consider one critical factor in this whole discussion as we push to reduce the import bills. Climate change. How is climate change playing into all of this? Let's be frank. 2023 was defined as the hottest year, and the hottest day was recorded in 2023. We surpassed that in 2024. The World Meteorological Organization recently indicated that 2024 was the hottest year on record.
Yep.
Now, what does that mean for farmers, right? That is a critical question that has to be answered, right? If we're going to be having, and let's be frank, Jamster, not many of us have air conditioning in our homes. Let's be frank, not many of us have that. So when you see you're sweating, you're sleeping and you're sweating at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when you're supposed to be cool, that underscores how hot the nights are becoming. That, plus the fact that we also have hot days as well. Jamsa, let's be frank, many of us walk around town during the course of the day last year, whether it be in March, whether it be during what is defined as summer or coming on to the end of the year, it was hot. It was extremely hot. So you have to deal with that, and then you have to deal with the fact that there's a lot of drought-like conditions, and St. Kitts and Nevis was facing a lot of that in 2024. People can play politics how much they want with the fact that this administration should have put water in place and put measures in place. That's not going to help the fact that we are facing challenges when it comes to water. Yes, the desalination plant is going to be critical for us in St. Kitts and Nevis, but we have to understand that farmers are being impacted by the issue and the topic of climate change, because if you don't have water, if the nights are going to continue to be hot, it's not going to be fun for a lot of us as we talk about food prices, and we're going to feel it in our pockets. And two instances underscored how dry it was last year. When you have New York having wildfires in what is described as, or should be, the cold period, right, because they're having bushfires in December, and then you now have California, which should also be the damp period, is having the extreme fires that we're seeing, whether or not they were deliberately lit or not, it underscores the fact that they only got 10% of the rainfall that they normally get in a year last year, which meant that more places are extremely hotter than they should be for this time of the year. And then the fact that you have these strong winds which are pushing the fires and the embers and so forth, and those are igniting the dry area. So that's a challenge that we're facing, and we're going to feel it in our pockets, because shortage of goods, shortage of produce means that food prices will definitely increase.
Yes, and boy, it just goes to show. Let me ask you a question. And your answer might be based on anecdotal evidence, but I would still like to hear what you think. You remember during COVID and maybe a little bit after, we had a nice spike in homegrown food and produce and so on, and it was really good to see. Would you say that's fallen off?
It has fallen off to an extent, Jamsa, and this is based on a discussion I had recently, an international report that I did for one of the agencies internationally. And just by interviewing a couple of farmers, they did indicate that to an extent it has fallen off, but you have to also, and you're right, anecdotal data, you have to break that down to understand specifically what it is that people are looking for. So, for example, you might not necessarily want the local potatoes, or you might not necessarily want the local sweet potatoes or tomatoes. So those are the sort of things that you may see people going into the supermarket for, because the international ones might be much better and or so forth. People are going to criticize me for saying that, but it is what it is. So realistically, it has fallen off to an extent, because you're not getting the imported stuff, and to an extent as well, the shelves were bare, Jams, but let's be frank. But some of us who did not want to go in the line, also decided to shop a lot on the roads and went to the markets to pick up greens and all those things. But now that your taste and your preference has returned, people want those imported stuff. And additionally, one other thing that somebody did point out, and the argument was when they asked the vendors to return to the market, was that a lot of people were arguing that, listen, the market closes at a particular time when a lot of us are coming off of work. And because of that, Mr. Abel cannot just walk down to the Bay Road and just pick up something at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or 5:30, because the markets might be closed. So, and then you have the other set of farmers who work along Frigate Bay Road, right? Frigate Bay, yes, that same area there, Ponds Pasture.
Yeah.
They now are actually out of reach for a lot of people who are in the heart of Bastille. So you may find more people going to the markets on Saturday mornings as against during the course of the week, because, when you come off of work at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, a lot of vendors are already wrapping up for the day. So that for me is where the challenge is. But yes, there has been a slight fall off in terms of the dependency on local produce.
Yeah. I agree, because I asked because I wanted to see what you thought, but I was also aware of the fact that I could have been wrong, because obviously we don't have empirical numbers, let's say from, statistics department.
But let's be frank though, Jam. Let's be frank.
Yeah.
A lot of people mostly prefer to grab stuff, and when I say most people, I'm talking about the younger generations, not the grandpas and the grandmothers or those slightly younger than them, right? A lot of people now are not necessarily cooking as they used to, right? And then you have more of the younger generation prefer to run in the supermarket and pick up stuff that they prefer to cook on a very quickly, because everybody's on the go. Nobody really interested in saying that they're going to stay home and and cook a whole lot of food on a Monday or a Tuesday. That's more weekend stuff. And that is for me where the whole shift is right now. Because there was also a report that I did, I think it was last year, where a lot of, I spoke to one of the, not consortium, but the word is slipping me right now, but one of these agro-processing type companies, organizations, and they did also indicate that the consistency is not necessarily there in terms of having certain produce on the in the markets consistently, and this can go back to climate change as well. So not a lot of people would want to go into the markets and not find what they want, and because of that, people tend to go to the supermarkets. I mean, somebody might tell you they prefer to go pick up a tin of sardine, which is easier to cook than having to go pick up.
Hey, it's cooked already. It's cooked already. Come on.
Right? So people tell you they prefer to go pick that up, sardines, as against going to pick up maybe spinach or some other cabbage or something that's going to take longer for them to cook, right? So that's going to be easier for them. So these are the sort of things, and it's just a taste and preference, and the fact that culturally, we as a people are literally shifting our dynamics from what we used to do or what our parents used to do to say that we're going to be cooking more and we're going to look to do stuff more easier than we did before.
Mm-hmm. So do you think when this thing really takes hold with Trump, do you think that we might see an uptick in people going back to their kitchen gardens, going back to subsistence farming, maybe close to the level we saw during COVID?
Jamsta, that's a very good question. My assessment of it is no.
They're just going to pay.
That is just me. No.
They're just going to pay the higher prices.
Jamsta,
for the most part.
We have a culture, and this is not just limited to St. Kitts and Nevis. We have a culture in the Caribbean region where we complain about things, and then for now, and then we move on and just accept it as being reality. So if now water bill the government decides to increase water, we're going to complain for the next 2 months, and then after that we're going to pay it. If the food prices go up, we're going to complain, and then we're just going to accept the fact that we have to pay $10 more for something, and that is what it is. Right? Yeah, that is what it is. So the bottom line is, some people, and when I say some, those are people who have the time to do this. Some people will decide to accept the realities that food prices are going up, and we have to begin to take stock of that we're spending more. But others might just decide, it's just better to pay $10 to just go down the road and get bread and maybe a piece of cheese and give the kids to eat, right? But there's a broader implication for that, Jamsta. Who did know that malnutrition and so forth has been on the rise in 2023 because of climate variabilities and so forth. They had an entire study done across Latin America and the Caribbean. And the concern is, and to an extent in St. Kitts and Nevis as well, is that people may believe that, because it's St. Kitts and Nevis, we have everybody's eating healthy and everybody's having an actual balanced diet, when that is not the case. And the concern for me is, now that these tariffs and so forth, the potential is that can be exacerbated because not everybody will be able to afford everything as is. Because, when somebody hears that something is going to go up in the U.S., for example, Trump is going to increase tariff and food prices are going to go up, I'm not knocking anybody, but we have a tendency of just jacking up the prices.
Yeah, I think. I think the slightest excuse is used to hike the prices. I think in a lot of cases the prices don't even need to be as high as they are, which is not to say that inflation isn't a thing, but yeah, I agree with you. Sometimes the prices don't have to be as high as they are.
Yes.
And by the way, I didn't get my tomatoes. There were no tomatoes. Remember? Yeah, I should have said that.
There we go.
So there were no tomatoes. So
what are you making? Salads, Jamster?
no, I was actually doing dal puri, but I had some home, but I wanted more. But so I used all of those, and so I'm gonna have to wait until tomorrow, I guess, to get tomatoes. Because I think listen to this conversation we're having here. I think the shipment usually comes in Wednesday, Thursday. So I think shipment comes in today, and then hopefully by, say, tomorrow morning, they'll start putting them on the shelves. This is an insane convo we're having here, because this should not even be a thing in a country where we have sun 365 days of the year.
What you're saying there underscores what CARICOM has been talking about, right? That is what CARICOM has been underscoring. That's what the Ministry of Agriculture has been talking about. And don't get me wrong, we import stuff from our brothers and sisters in the neighboring territories, which is understandable because, not every territory can actually produce everything.
Of course.
It's just too small. But the mere fact that we have to go to the United States and outside of the CARICOM bridge is what is concerning to CARICOM. Because let's be frank, if St. Kitts and Nevis produces mass cabbages, right, that then means that we can export those to neighboring territories once we can become self-sustainable in particular produce. The issue is, oftentimes it's difficult for us to put our hands on a lot. There are stuff that we're self-sustainable in, but we don't have a lot of major produce that we can point to say that we're self-sustainable in these areas, at least for the calendar year. And then we know we have the 6-7 months of the hurricane season. So that's another issue that we have to deal with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what's even more grievous about it is the Native Americans didn't name St. Kitts Liamiga for no reason. You know what I mean? The natives did not name it Liamiga idly.
And that is true.
Right? and here we are. Oh, and look at this comment from Cleo. Cleo says, "That is so sad. You have to wait for a ship to bring in tomatoes. When we brag how we have fertile soil, talk about laughable and ridiculous." Yes, I mean.
Again, we're correct, but we still have to put everything into context, Jamster, right? And this is what I want people to understand. Not because the soil is fertile means that St. Kitts is going to be self-sustainable in everything, right? That is
German, no one's saying that, but I'm just saying we could have been doing a lot better. Where I shouldn't be going into the grocery store and seeing the produce section as bare as it is usually during between the Monday Tuesday window. That should not be. Yes, okay, yeah, we're bringing in these things, but I should not be going into the grocery store and seeing that. That's all I'm saying. I totally understand. We can't grow everything. I mean, we don't grow wheat, for example. I totally take your point.
Yeah, but you see, again, Jamster, this is what I keep asking the agriculture officials, and they keep saying and reminding people that we need to choose specific crops, and this is what they were trying to understand based on the interviews and discussions I've had. If it's the case that we see producers are, for example, good in planting crops, like if Jamsta loves to plant cabbages and root cabbages, then Jamsta is going to focus primarily on cabbages. The issue that has developed over the years, and I've been following the agriculture sector for quite some time, is that if Jamsta now is going to plant eddos and do a whole big bed of eddos, Mr. Abel is going to come and do the same thing. Right. So everybody is reaping the same set of crops at the same time, which means that during some point in time in the year, there's going to be a shortage of those crops. And, farmers might hate me for saying that, but we need to be creative in terms of what crops we produce and how we produce those crops. Yes, the Ministry of Agriculture and Agriculture has some level, the Department of Agriculture has some responsibility to deal with these things as well. But we as farmers and people have to begin to be creative and think outside of the box in terms of how we plant and how we prioritize what we plant and what we consume, right? Because again, if a crop is going to be planted for a 6-month period and reap during that 6-month period, not all farmers should be planting the same thing at the same time, so that when everybody comes, there's a glut on the market of one particular crop, and then when that is finished, there's then a shortage of it. So it's just creative ways of doing things, and I'm sure that the department has over the years been urging farmers to take up certain other crops and and prioritize those as well. Not everybody plant the same thing, because you will have a lot of wastage in the long run that we've been seeing from time to time. And like I said, I've been interviewing people and so forth, and I've been hearing a lot of this. The other issue that we found, Jamsta, is how do you, especially, and this thing is also about, this particular point is about tomatoes, the fact that we have a lot of people who wait until some of the crops are especially ripe or ripened to the point that, any little hit or fall that they have, they're damaged. So do we just decide to dump those, or do we see whether or not we can make end products such as tomato pieces, ketchup, and so forth? So it's all of these creative things that is being called into question in determining how best to ensure that St. Kitts and Nevis has a sustainable food product on the island.
The thing is, we're gonna have to expand. we are gonna have to expand the conversation beyond produce, because if Mr. Trump implements a lot of the things he said he will, that would mean that everything will get expensive. It means electronics, clothes, all the things. We love. People love to go on Temu and Shane and all these Amazon. A lot of things are going to get expensive, and so if we I don't know, if we don't ramp up our agricultural output, at least my thing is, if we ramp up our agricultural output, at the very least, it would you could argue that it would make more funds available for to cover some of the increases that we're going to expect in other consumer sectors, But I don't know if anyone's thinking about all that.
But you see, okay, just a thing to note, Jamsta. Alpha, this is for the public before I make the point. The Public Works Department will be conducting emergency repairs on College Street by AVEC today, January 29th. Traffic detours for passenger buses and all vehicular traffic are as follows. 1. Traveling from the St. Peter's area, take the first right into College Housing after Gillard's roundabout, drive through College Housing and exit by Azul Printers.
Yeah, okay.
Secondly, traveling to St. Peter's area, turn left by Azul Printers, drive through College Housing and exit by the roundabout by Gillard's.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Okay. So,
that was a notice from the police force.
Yeah, so folks, the area, well, just let me say, the area of College Street, that's directly west of the Washington National High School. So, yeah, I got that picture. So, folks, you heard what Jermaine just said. So, just act accordingly. You were going to say, we're going to take a quick break and come back. I wanted to shift gears, but we were going to say something before we go to the break.
No, I just wanted to remind people that, you're correct in the point that you were making, just quickly, that the whole discussion surrounding price increases, everything will likely go up. Once it's coming out of the United States, it likely will go up. And I would be love for you to play that clip from Mr. Warner, where he basically alluded to the fact that things will definitely go up, whether or not it's instant kits, whether or not it's from the U.S. or countries that will receive these tariffs.
Yeah, I was having a little issue here. I was trying to it was posted for me, but can't get the computer to update it. So yeah, but we can always do that tomorrow, I guess. And during Voices, it might come up during Voices, so it might be something. I will propose Jay Black. By the way, Jay Black is going to be doing Voices today, people. So Voices starts at 10 o'clock. Let's take a quick break and come back with German on Island Tea.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Like for the party, Buster, Buster. We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
7 flavors, best taste, Buster, bolder, better, better. Pick your color.
We set the pace, then everybody follow it.
Buster, live in full color. Buster.
Okay, we are back. Let me just touch 2 comments here at 9:44. Longshot says the local farmers prices are very high. They can do better if they think long term rather than short term. And Cleo says, what I realize in SKN, we make everything so difficult, like it's rocket science. What happened to forward thinking? Cleo is always on point. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely agree with that.
I would say this, Jamsta. I interviewed a particular agriculture official, and during the interview, I asked a question in terms of pricing and whether or not farmers understand the pricing. How do they come up with the pricing? Is it something that the department assists them with? And the question was, there's no standardized pricing, because when those officials decide to interview farmers in terms of, show us the books, show us how you came up with $5 for X or $10 or $8 for Y, you may not necessarily get a proper breakdown or structure of how the pricing went. Okay, I factored in $2.50 for transportation, $1 for labor, 50 cents for the pesticide, and so forth. So you're not getting that particular breakdown, which was concerning for the official. And I think that is what we're saying. And again, I'm not hitting any farmer. Everybody has to make a living and so forth. But it is just the realities of what is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. I did a report that underscored the need for more farmers to become more business oriented and business minded. And I think if a lot of them take that perspective in terms of running their initiatives as businesses, many of them would become, and the sector would seem more lucrative for the young people to be able to come and get involved in farming. Because right now, the issue that we're finding is that and alarmingly, Jamsa, and concerning for me, is that we have a shortage of young people coming into the agriculture sector that will transition into the next generation of farmers.
Yes, there was a story last week in Grenada. Me and Kortensia touched it. There's this program that the Grenada government is doing to encourage. In fact, I think they had an award ceremony for like students who were showing promise in the agriculture sector, and I thought we were talking about how cool it was that they seem to be actively doing something in Grenada to get school, people in school, high school, to take agriculture seriously. Let's take a call. Let's see what this caller has to say. Caller, go right ahead.
Yes, morning.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
It somehow seems that we're having more than just a little difficulty getting our agriculture right. Okay? And it didn't just start to happen. And so I'm wondering if we shouldn't compare what we're doing more with what, let's say, the success stories insofar as agriculture is concerned in the region. Is it, for instance, that we absolutely need to do more large-scale farming in terms of a monocrop as opposed to leaving it to a whole big conglomerate that produces one crop for export, as opposed to having farmers pretty much doing their own thing and with mixed results. How is it done, for instance, in Guyana? Is there still the large-scale type farming as opposed to individual farmers? And where should we look in the region as a possible example for how our agriculture should go? Because somehow I'm just not seeing, despite all the help from the Taiwanese and so on, can't seem to get it right. Do you regard Ghana, for instance, as a good example? Or is it Dominica? Where are the good examples in the region, we would say?
Well, Guyana, at least anecdotally, I would say Guyana, Dominica, St. Vincent, Jamaica probably, Trinidad even.
Why anecdotally? I mean,
if we're going to talk about... So I was saying, if we're going to talk about agriculture and we're looking for examples, Guyana probably would be the best blueprint. Because in terms of their approach to agriculture, it starts from the grassroots level. What I mean the grassroots level is that you have backyard gardening, which is what is transitioned for generations to generations. Because I grew up, doing backyard gardening.
But and then you have subsistence level, though. That's essentially to
hold on.
To feed yourself. Uh-huh.
But hold on. So you have that, and then you have it being taught in the high schools, what I mean the high schools, from first form all the way up to sixth form, and then from there you have a specific college that is geared towards agriculture. Then you have the farmers themselves, who, the small farmers who would go and sell in the market, and then you have the large-scale farmers who do this on such a large scale that it goes for exports and so forth. So, right. But it also needs, it's a dual role where government assistance and farmers and people prioritize this as their means of living and as a business for them, right? And I think that's where we are falling short, because if you know that, again, and it goes back to the point I was making earlier, if Jamsta is going to plant cabbage now, German cannot wholeheartedly plant cabbage at the same time, because when we're ready to reap the cabbages, it's going to come a point where everybody's going to be selling this on the market. It's going to result in wastage, one, and two, there's going to be a shortage at some point because the glut is there, but everybody's reaping at the same time.
So in Guyana, you're saying there is actually coordination between farmers to say who grows what when?
There is some level of coordination, yes. But because, and again, we have to contextualize this, the fact that Ghana is a much larger territory with more land. Well, I can't say territory, it's a larger country with more land, and they have a vast amount of people planting, to the point where it is structured in a sense where we know that we have more farmers planting and so forth. So that is what is kind of impacting what is on the market. But yet, it's more structured with government input and so forth.
On a proportional basis, you're saying about what percent of Guyanese are involved in farming as compared to here?
I did not necessarily get the question.
You mentioned that there seem to be more, apart from more land, there are more people involved in farming. I was wondering the comparative percentages. Because if for instance...
are you asking comparatively to percentages of how many farmers are involved in the sector?
Yes, because that would affect output, I would imagine.
Well, put it this way. Because Guyana has a vast amount of land, the land space is very much different compared to what we're seeing in St. Kitts and Nevis. You have more farmers. And if we're going to do a comparison, I'd probably say at least 20% of the population farms, or at least 20% of the population are involved in that specific sector. And again, you have what is called, as again, the backyard farmers. So you always have stuff available based on what people are doing. I know the government sought to undertake that as part of 25 by 25, having more people involved. But because it's something that is taught in schools and it's transitioned through the levels, right, people are finding it as a means and a way of making a comprehensive living.
Well, I would imagine
you have the land space, you have to an extent water available and so forth.
But I imagine a backyard in St. Kitts is very different to a backyard in Guyana. I would imagine in Guyana it's much larger. And so that makes more sense than the one or two fruit trees we may have and the little plots that we may have in the backyard compared to Guyana. But in any case, if you're saying about 20% are involved in farming there, I don't think there's anywhere near close to that in St. Kitts. And so for starters, we're very disadvantaged, which leads me back to the original point. Should it be that we get involved in large-scale farming, one or two very large farms, as opposed to dabbling in a lot of little plots up and down the place? You know, it makes for better management and more control, more coordination. You know, it's just a thought. I don't know, but we somehow we're just having difficulty getting the right mix. You know, I just don't think we're ready.
To be honest, I think that the bottom line issue here is that we need more coordination, and we need more people to want to do agriculture. Because even if we do large-scale farming, we have to take into consideration climate change. We also have to take into consideration the fact that we have the hurricane season. These are not things that really impact places like Guyana or...
Oh, it seems as though German has, wow, his...
Trinidad. Right. Okay. So even if you do large-scale farm, you have to consider these issues, right?
Yeah,
but I know we're kind of running out of time, so I want to leave that point.
But at least we can control things better in terms of like irrigation and so on with a large scale as opposed to little farms up and down the place. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot more thought, I think, need to have to go into this. to eventually come up with the correct mix.
Yeah, okay. So we got to end it there. We got Voices coming up next, actually.
All right.
Yeah, okay. And Jay Black will be hosting today. So we have that coming up. Joey, I'm sending you the stuff that you asked for. Oh, oh, good. So they're finished. They're finished sending. Mark and Camilla. That's.
So yes, well, Jamsta, it was good being in your company today. The discussion was really interesting. So now I can actually go have my tea, Jamsta.
Yeah, go do your
Even though you didn't tell me what tea we are having this morning on Island Tea, well, but it's all good.
I'm just having
there
some,
he goes. He has his travel mug.
I'm just having some straight up green tea. Okay, gotta go. We got Voices coming up next, folks. So stay tuned. That's coming up right now. Okay.
Oh, I've got this feeling to high five the sun, dance in the rain, and have my scoop of fun. I'm on my way to flavor my day.